You know that feeling, right? That nagging frustration when you know exactly what you should be doing to hit a big goal. Maybe it's a career thing or getting your finances sorted or even just, healthier habits, but something just stops you. Motivation disappears, you feel stuck, and those goals, they suddenly feel miles away. It's such a common thing, wanting to finally install discipline in your life to really build unstoppable discipline. So in this discussion, we're going to unpack how you can actually take control and make those things happen.
Oh, absolutely. It's a challenge I've seen again and again over, about 30 years now working with all sorts of people. Many folks think discipline is just this fixed thing. You either have it or you don't. But that's really not the case. Discipline is definitely a skill. It's something you can actively develop, a capacity you can build. And honestly, when you do, the impact is huge. It affects your personal growth, sure, but also your ability to, say, attract success or more money or land that career move you want. So our mission today really is to pull back the curtain on this inner strength. We'll look at the brain science, the neuroscience secrets, and the practical steps to cultivate it.
It really feels like our modern world, I don't know, it's almost set up to make discipline harder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everything is just so convenient now. Food's just an app click away. Bored. Endless entertainment on your phone. Notifications constantly buzzing. It's just so easy to drift, right? To take the easy route.
You've hit on something really important there. That convenience, while nice on the surface, can sometimes lead down a path toward feeling, unfulfilled. Maybe even adding to anxiety and stress. There was this older idea, some early research talked about ego depletion, suggesting willpower is like a muscle that gets tired or a limited battery. And if you believe your willpower is limited, that belief itself can sort of make it true. You might give up quicker,
Huh. A self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. But the real issue usually isn't that you don't want the goal. You absolutely do. The tough part is pushing through the discomfort that comes with making a change.
Okay, so if it's not just this limited willpower thing we often hear about, what is going on in our brains?
Yeah.
When we actually manage to push through resistance, tackle something we really don't feel like doing, what are these neuroscience secrets?
Right. This is where things get really interesting. Deep inside your brain, there's this area called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, the AMCC. Think of it as maybe the brain's hub for tenacity, for effort, for managing that internal conflict when part of you wants to do one thing and another part knows you should do something else. And what's really fascinating, when scientists stimulate this area, people don't just feel like a challenge is coming. They immediately feel more capable of meeting that challenge. It's like the brain is actively saying, okay, we can handle this.
Wow. So your brain literally gears up to face the hard stuff. And you mentioned research linking this to actual results, people sticking to diets and things.
Precisely. The studies are pretty remarkable. For example, people who successfully stick to diets, they often show an increase in the size and activity of their AMCC over time. But those who struggle, who maybe fall off the wagon, they sometimes show a decrease in activity there. We also see something similar in what they call superagers. Yeah, people in their 70s, 80s, 90s whose minds are still as sharp as people decades younger. They often maintain or even grow their AMCC size, which kind of goes against the typical age-related decline. It tells us this part of the brain is dynamic. It can change.
So it's not just about having willpower for that one moment. It's like we're actually changing our brain wiring with our actions.
Exactly right. And here's the real kicker, the key insight. The AMCC gets most fired up not just when you do hard things you like doing, but when you deliberately do hard things you don't want to do.
Ah, okay. That's crucial.
It is fundamental because it means that pushing through discomfort, even small bits of it, isn't just about getting that one task done. You're building a sort of general engine for tenacity, a core neurological capacity that helps you across all parts of your life. It's like building your brain's resilience muscle.
That's huge. So for our listeners who are really focused on manifestation, right, attracting more success, abundance, that kind of thing, how does knowing this brain science directly help us install that discipline? Make it real day to day.
It connects perfectly because when you deliberately choose to do those challenging things, especially the ones you'd rather skip, you are literally reshaping your brain. You're building the neural hardware, the capacity to consistently show up for whatever your goals are. This makes it easier, more natural to align with what you want to attract. You start to become the kind of person who just does the things required for success. Manifestation becomes less about just wishing
and more about embodying it.
Exactly. Embodying that disciplined person who naturally draws in what they're working towards.
Okay, that totally shifts things. So knowing this potential is there inside our heads, What are the practical steps? What can we actually do starting today to build this unstoppable discipline? How do we apply these insights?
Well, it really requires a sort of multi-pronged approach. We need to weave together some timeless ideas with this modern brain science. The goal is to get you from feeling stuck or maybe overwhelmed to feeling clear and confident. So first things first, we have to master your inner landscape. This is all about mindset and identity. And step one here is absolutely critical. Know your strengths and weaknesses. You need that self-awareness. You can't fix something if you don't even acknowledge it's broken, right? Think about top athletes or Navy SEALs. They are relentless about identifying weak spots and then specifically training to improve them. Facing your vulnerabilities is where the strength starts.
That makes total sense. You need the map before you can navigate.
Precisely. And building on that, it's really important to shift your willpower perception. Remember we talked about that ego depletion idea? Believing willpower is strictly limited can hold you back. But if you start to believe, based on this neuroscience, that willpower is more like a muscle that gets stronger with use, well, you're much more likely to push your limits, to aim for those bigger stretch goals. Just holding that belief gives you a psychological edge. Your brain literally responds to that expectation by strengthening those discipline pathways when you use them.
And you mentioned earlier focusing on identity, not just the goal. How does that really resonate for people trying to manifest, say, more success?
Ah, yes. This is often a real aha moment for people. It's a game changer for attracting success. Instead of just saying, I want to achieve X, like more money or a promotion, you need to focus on identity, not just goals. Ask, who is the person that naturally achieves this? Who do I need to become? Then every discipline action you take, maybe getting up early, learning a new skill, making that tough phone call, becomes like a vote for that new identity.
A vote. I like that.
Yeah. It builds this deep intrinsic motivation. You're not just chasing something outside yourself. You're literally becoming the person who attracts success and abundance because you embody the necessary qualities. You're becoming the vibration, if you will. And one more crucial piece for the inner game. Forgive yourself and move forward. Look, setbacks will happen. You'll have off days. The key is not to get stuck in guilt or beat yourself up. That just wastes energy. Learn the lesson, adjust your plan, and get right back on track. Think of it like driving. If you take a wrong turn, you don't just abandon the car, right? You reroute. Self-compassion keeps your energy focused on moving forward.
That's such a relief to hear, honestly. Knowing a slip-up isn't the end of the world. Okay, so inner game is strong. What about the outside world? How do we architect our outer world to make discipline easier, almost automatic?
Right. This is about making things easier on your brain, reducing the need for brute force willpower. First, control your environment. Make the good behaviors super obvious and easy. Make the temptations invisible or hard to get to. It's way easier to avoid the cookie jar if there are no cookies in it, right?
Definitely.
So put your phone in another room on Do Not Disturb when you need focus. Clear out the junk food. Your surroundings shape your actions more than you think. Make the disciplined choice the easiest choice.
Setting yourself up for success physically, not just mentally. Yeah, I can see how that would make a huge difference.
It really does. Next up, set clear. Atomic goals. Forget vague stuff like get fit. Break big goals down into tiny, almost ridiculously small steps. This works because completing each tiny step gives you a little dopamine hit, a reward, which builds momentum. Use the 2-minute rule. If a new habit takes less than 2 minutes, just do it right away. Don't even think about it. So instead of I need to do an hour workout, maybe the atomic goal is just put on my running shoes and walk for 5 minutes. Often just starting is the hardest part.
That little trick to bypass the initial resistance.
Yeah,
I've heard people struggle with just getting started, like heading to the gym.
It's super effective. It lowers that activation energy. Then, also really important, prioritize ruthlessly. Before you start your day, know what the 1 or 2 most important things are. If you have 10 priorities, you really have none. Clarity reduces decision fatigue and keeps you focused. And once you know your priorities, try habit stacking. This means linking a new habit you want to build onto one you already do automatically. Like, after I brush my teeth existing habit, I will meditate for 2 minutes, new habit. It piggybacks on an existing neural pathway.
Okay, these strategies almost make the disciplined choice feel, well, easier. So we've worked on the inside, set up the outside. How do we actually engage in deliberate practice, build that daily muscle?
Right. This is where the rubber meets the road, consistent action. First tactic, do hard things first. You might have heard this called eat the frog. Tackle your most challenging task early in the day. Your brain power, your cognitive control is usually strongest then. Get it done, and the rest of the day feels easier. Then, practice daily diligence with baby steps. Discipline is learned. It's a pathway that strengthens with repetition. Start small, but be consistent every day. Those small wins compound.
Okay, and I think this next one connects directly back to that AMCC you mentioned. How do we intentionally light up that tenacity hub?
Yes, this is where you actively leverage that neuroscience secret. You need to embrace microsucks. Yeah. These are small, uncomfortable things you really don't feel like doing, but you make yourself do them anyway. Maybe it's finally washing that gross pan in the sink, or making that call you're dreading, or pushing yourself to run just 20 seconds longer when you feel like stopping. These aren't huge, heroic acts. They're tiny, intentional moments of choosing discomfort. Go one more. Each time you push through a microsuck, you are actively strengthening your AMCC. You're building that general capacity for toughness that helps everywhere.
That's fascinating. So it's not about suffering all day, but strategically choosing small discomforts to build that mental fortitude, like targeted brain training.
That's a great way to put it. And related to managing challenges, build a backup plan, sometimes called an implementation intention. This isn't admitting defeat, it's being realistic. Plan for obstacles. If X happens, then I will do Y. For example, if I miss my morning workout because of a meeting, then I will do a quick 15-minute walk at lunchtime. Having the plan ready saves mental energy when things go sideways.
These are all so practical, things anyone can start implementing.
Yeah.
And hey, if you watching are finding this valuable, if you're getting some good insight here, please do take a second to like this video and definitely subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We love diving into these kinds of powerful concepts to help you master your inner world.
Absolutely. And the final piece of the puzzle, which is so often overlooked, is to cultivate your support system. First, seriously, audit your friend circle. Who are you spending time with? Are they lifting you up, challenging you positively? Or are they maybe pulling you down, encouraging complacency? Surround yourself with people who have that growth mindset. Join groups where the behavior you want is just the normal thing everyone does. Social influence is incredibly powerful.
That's a big one. Your environment isn't just your physical space, it's the people too.
It really is. And connected to that, create public accountability. Tell people your goals, friends, family, maybe even colleagues. It just makes it harder to back down or negotiate with yourself when you know others are aware. Sharing my goal publicly was a huge motivator when I trained for a marathon years ago. That desire to follow through becomes really strong. Your brain doesn't like that inconsistency. And don't underestimate the power of structure. Consider a coach or mentor, someone who's already achieved what you want. They can offer shortcuts, insights, and hold you accountable in a way friends might not. There's a reason top performers always have coaches. You know, we can also layer on some timeless wisdom here from Stoicism. It fits perfectly with building this kind of inner resilience. A key idea is control what you can, accept what you can't. Pour your energy into your own actions, your own attitudes, things you can control. Don't waste it worrying about external stuff you can't. This frees up so much mental energy for discipline.
That really shifts your focus back to your own power, doesn't it? Focusing on your response.
Exactly. The Stoics also talked about cultivating virtues, things like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance or moderation. Practicing these in your daily life inherently builds self-discipline, like practicing temperance might mean setting limits on scrolling social media, which directly strengthens your self-control muscle. Another interesting technique is negative visualization. Briefly imagine things not going to plan. What if you face a setback? It's not about being gloomy, it's mental preparation. It builds resilience before trouble hits, so you can stay disciplined and recover faster instead of getting completely thrown off course. And finally, a practice many find incredibly useful. Engage in daily reflection, like Marcus Aurelius journaling. Take a few minutes at the end of the day. What went well? Where did you struggle? What did you learn? Or maybe set intentions in the morning. This self-awareness helps you see patterns, reinforce what works, and stay aligned with your bigger purpose. It's continuous improvement.
Wow. This has been incredibly eye-opening. It's so clear now that unstoppable discipline isn't magic. It's a practical skill you build brick by brick, and it literally changes your brain.
And like we've discussed, this has a direct impact on your ability to manifest things attracting success, money, that career you want. When you consistently take the actions, when you become that disciplined person, you are actively aligning yourself with those desires. You're making them inevitable. Just remember, motivation, it comes and goes, it's fickle. But discipline, that's the steady force. That's what actually turns your intentions into reality. So here's a challenge for you listening. Pick just one thing. One small action, maybe even one micro suck you can tackle today or tomorrow. Don't overwhelm yourself. Start small, be consistent. That's how you build real, lasting inner strength.
Yeah, that's great advice. We'd genuinely love to hear from you. Which strategy resonated most? Or what's that one micro suck you're going to commit to tackling? Let us know down in the comments.
And please, if you want more discussions like this one designed to unlock your potential and help you master your inner world, definitely hit that subscribe button.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Here's to your journey of growth and building that unstoppable self.